All right, welcome back to the Woman Soul to Experience radio show. Alexis guest is here. She is on virtual. We're on Stream Live, StreamYard on the Woman Soul 2. And she is a health coach. She's a health advocate, healer, author, writer, advocate for young people. So she's a wife as well. So let's welcome Miss Celeste Roberson. How are you today?
Hello, I'm amazing. How are you?
I'm doing good. Saturday, Saturday, a little chilly, but
Yes, yes.
but it's gonna be all right. So, how was your week?
My week was amazing. I got a lot done. It was a very productive week. I have a coaching program that I'm offering, so I was able to find two amazing people to work with and offer my services to for free. And that's pretty cool. That was a pretty cool experience just connecting with them.
Yes, wonderful. And I kind of helped out with getting the people there.
Yes, you did.
I don't know if they got picked or not. So, but just to get interested, just to see what you're about. I think that's very important in the day. I want people to win. I want people to be successful. Be around people that are doing things that are extraordinary. That
Right.
are outside the box. And I want them to be open up to the opportunity to do that, be part of that. Especially when a program that is free. That's so. Based on the cost that you showed me, I was like, whoa, okay, and this is a really great thing to take advantage of. So that's so important. So that's so needed in our communities, especially to if if you want to grow and be successful this year and make your year different than from
Yeah,
last year and go to another level. And I think it's so important that we should do that. So going forward.
absolutely.
So let's get right to it. So who is Celeste Roberson?
Celeste Roberson is a lot. Celeste Roberson is a lot. Um, I'm actually a healer. I'm a co-creating healer. What I do in helping my clients, I I partner with my clients to help them through the process of being able to unpack the things that got them where they are so that they can heal. Um, I cultivated a space for us. Everything I do is about us. The sister that you had on before, right, the guest before me, Janae, I did hear her say how important it is that she created a space for Black women. I created a space for our families. I created a space for our married couples and singles. Um, Spending almost 20 years working with our children with emotional and behavior disorders put me in a clinical environment, put me in a space to really recognize and understand what we need as a people.
I totally agree. I totally agree with you. I think that's like it's very important to have spaces for all types of people in different phases, like singles,
Mhm.
singles, married, and people that who are divorced, trying to get back in the dating scene. So it's so important that healing is so important. It's so important because you don't heal, everything else is going to be out of whack. Everything he's going to do is out of whack. And I always say that mental health is the number one issue because it affects everything you do every single day. It affects your
Yeah,
choices, it affects your decision making, it affects your friendships, relationships. If your mental health is not in control, it's not at a place where you want to be. Everything else is going to be fractured. Everything else is going to it's going to suffer. So
mhm,
it's so pivotal that our mental health is in check, that we get set free and get healed,
right.
and not bleed on people. Or carry our burdens with us and being burdened to someone. When people in our lives should be blessings to us, not burdens to us. So
Right.
who was Celeste growing up?
Who was I growing up? I was a very inquisitive kid. I was a girl child that grew up in a very, um, I actually am in the process of writing a book, and the name of the book is um, All of My Relationships Have Been Complicated. And it's really something because I grew up in a really complicated situation, like a lot of us do. I grew up in an environment that was very affectionate. On the outside, all of my friends wanted my life because it looked so beautiful, because it was full of family and always doing things, and the weekend partying and 1,000 cousins and all of these things. But there was a lot of toxicity and a lot of dysfunction in the background that nobody got to really see, that I had to actually not only endure but learn how to grow through and overcome, so that I could grow into this amazing woman that I've grown into. I say all the time, I'm very thankful that I look nothing like my life. Like my experiences look nothing like this.
Yeah, I'm glad I'm glad that you were not a part, well, not, you didn't end up what you saw, and how
Right.
you took the steps to become the woman that you are, despite the experiences you had growing up. Because all those us had those experiences growing up, and we to decide, do we want to be like, do we want our lives to be like this, or do our lives be opposite of that? So all of us, all of us had those experiences growing up, but we had to make that choice. Do we want to be better, or stick to what we used to? You know,
Right.
and
Right.
it's so important. So what?
Before you go any further, I do want to share. I was a girl child that stood up for myself. A lot of, and I've worked with over 1,000 people in the last 10 years of me being in business. And I want to say, sadly, 95% of my clients all grew up in drug infested areas, parents on drugs, alcoholism. But I only work with professional people of color. So it's amazing how it is that somehow we can detach ourselves from the trauma that we were being raised in. And even though a lot of us grew up with not really being given the tools, so we recognize and understand how beautiful we are and special we are, and how it is that we were God made. And when you have this, when you have this divine, this you know that you are a divine being, because you have divine in you, you have divine all around you. It makes you look at things a lot differently. And it wasn't until it is that I started tapping into myself spiritually, that I was able to actually start to unpack all the things that had happened to me for me to make poor decisions that I was making before I became a wife, before I became a business owner, before I became all of these things. So when you grow up in an environment where you're told to not think for yourself, which many of us are, when you grow up in an environment where you're told to not feel, which many of us do, when you grow up in an environment that's basically a dictatorship, it can put you in position to not ever grow into who it is that God created you to be. So I think there was something in me, even as a little girl, who recognized and understood that, because I stood up for myself all the time, got in trouble all the time. I used to be talked about all the time because of my mouth. Just shut your mouth. And no, I didn't do that. I didn't do what you said that I did. I didn't do da 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 da. Majority of my clients did not grow up in those kind of environments where they put themselves in position to stand for self. So what wind up happening is they self-destructed, sadly. And it wasn't until it is that we started seeing each other, they were able to start to unpack certain things, and why it is that they got into relationships with people that didn't value them. Why it is that they got into relationships and they stayed in relationships with people that continuously hurt them and continuously put them down, and those sorts of things. All of these things started home, and I, being a children's advocate, put me in a position to really be able to recognize that a lot of us don't look at the fact that our children are little people. I've watched adults say and do some of the most horrendous things to children and they would never do that to other adults, which is mind-boggling to me. And then to find out later that these same adults came from environments when they were children, they weren't valued and talked to nicely and kindly and those sorts of things. So it put me in a space, my working environment, my clinical experience put me in a position to actually start to unpack my own childhood trauma.
Yes, like your trauma that you experience as a child affects you as you get older. You don't address it while you're young, so
Mm-hmm.
that's why one of the things we do, my own Miss Emphatic Greatness, we try to teach our young people about trauma resilience while they're young, so they won't carry it as they get older. So
Right.
we may not have the answers to get the right answer, but we give you some tips and strategy to how to address it, how to have those conversations, how to deal with it while it's fresh in your mind. You won't have to carry that stuff as you get older. You won't have to take it out on people that deserve to be in your life, and instead your trauma is pushing them away from your life. So that's very important to talk about healing. You have to heal. That you have to take the steps to heal. You can't say I'm healed without doing any work. You gotta do some work. You gotta do some soul searching. You gotta do things that's uncomfortable. You got
Yes.
and you can't say I'm free without doing the things that you're supposed to say to be free. You gotta do. Yeah, you can say it. That's great, but doing the work behind it, it makes you saying it more meaningful and more impactful.
Mm-hmm.
So you said you had experienced 20 years. 20 years of talking with families and people from different ages, stages of life about their trauma and what they experienced to get to this point and how to set them free. So, what made you decide, say, look, as a young person, I don't know how old you were, decide to do this, that, hey, I want to be a healer. I want to be a health advocate. What made you decide, listen, this is the path I want to go?
Um, I didn't decide. God decided for me.
Well, I
I,
mean, I know
I'm
God
saying,
don't
no,
like,
I'm saying, I
but,
didn't, I
but
didn't, no, I'm saying to you, I never decided. God decided. When I was a little person, um, I was always the one that people came to for advice. I was always the one, and I remember elders saying to my mother and saying to other adults that I was with, she has such an old soul. She has such an old, even when I was like 7, 8, 9 years old. And I started a cheerleading group on my block in the summertime for girls between the ages of, I think they were, at the time I was 15. So I want to say they were between the ages of like 12 and 11. And I I did everything. Like I taught them drills. We had practices, all kinds of stuff. And they were always around me. This group of girls was always around me. So I wanted to give them something to do. Because in the summer, when I was a child, in the summer, my mother sent me to summer camp. So I had something to do Monday through Friday. The girls on the block didn't have anything to do. So I ran into one of them, fast forward probably about 8 years ago. She's now a coach, but this is after her education. I think she's working on her master's degree now. She lives in DC. She grew up on the block. We ran into one another, and I told her what I was doing. And she said, Celeste, I'm not surprised. And I said, what do you mean you're not surprised? She said, you've always been this. Even when you were younger, you were this. You were always telling people, I have something like that a lot of us have, because many of us have been given God given gifts. And it goes back to what it is that I said in regards to me standing up for that gift. Um, the Most High wouldn't allow me to be shut down because what I was doing was helping other people. I was born a healer. I have no idea. Like I didn't choose this for me. I was given the assignment and I'm just going with the assignment. Um, and my life started to do wonderful and amazing things once I released me and my ideas and my thoughts and what it is that I believe. Because even me becoming a children's advocate, I did it based upon my own experiences. I did it based upon the fact that nobody helped me. I did it based upon being a survivor of molestation. I was molested at 10. I also went through teen rape when I was 15, 16. I was in domestic violence situations in my early 20s. So, and nobody helped me. So it put me in position where I was helping everybody else. I was helping out my family. I was doing for this person, doing for that person. But all the while I was suffering like silently. I was silently suffering. So once I went through the process of just in working with our children and seeing the things it is that they too had to just endure. Because the thing that a lot of adults don't think about is that where your life is as an adult, you're choosing to be there. Where your children's lives are with you, you're choosing their life for them. They have no choice. They just got to take it and just have to be in it. So it wasn't until I started working with children that I started looking at me, and I started looking at why it is that I'm getting into these really unhealthy, toxic relationships. Why am I chain smoking weed every day? Why am I doing like I started asking myself some really uncomfortable questions. And what it led me back to is where I'd come from. So coming from a certain environment put me in a position even for me to tap into my own healing, which helped me, led me to asking God what it is that I'm supposed to ultimately do. And I asked the question before I went to sleep. I woke up the next day, and the first thing I said is, I'm going to be a life coach. The next thing I said, what is that? This is after my clinical experience. And then once I studied it, I said, oh, I do this anyway, and I can get paid for it. I'm in there. So that's how it all began. And it evolved into something amazing. I started off working with the masses, and that didn't do it for me. I have a love for my people. And I see so many people out here coaching, and that's really cool. There's so many people are out here coaching, but I don't see a lot of people coaching from a space of compassion. I see it where go girl go, you got this, da da da, blah blah blah, and that's cute. That's not where I'm coming from. I'm coming from let's unpack this stuff together because my ultimate goal isn't about black love. Because to some people, black love is a punch in the face. To some people, black love is cussing your partner out and then y'all hugging and kissing later. I'm focused on healthy black love. And I don't see a lot of people really focusing on that. So being in so many unhealthy situations put me in a space to focus on the healthiness of myself and to focus on the healthiness of my people.
First of all, I'm sorry that you experienced those things you growing up with molestation and the rape and untoxic relationships. I would not have want no woman to experience that. That's a traumatizing experiences.
Thank
And
you.
I thank God that God allows you to be healed and delivered and free from that, and set free from that. And
Thank you.
second, Paul, you're talking about you said something about black healthy black love, and I think that's missing. I think that's missing because the black love like can be inside their face because like it doesn't mean anything. It's not healthy love. Love
Mhm.
love's supposed to mean healthiness and not fighting, cursing. Put people on blast on social media. That's not love.
Yeah.
That's you just try and get clout, try and get views. That's it. You just build up your brain, not. So, and I want to ask you a question about something you said something um you said something about the gift that God told you to be a life coach. God told you to do this. A lot of times we don't operate our gifts that
Mhm.
God told us to do. And we do something else. We do something else that's God did not tell you what to do. You do that. You be successful, you get money, blah blah. But in the end, you be miserable, and then that's why people switch jobs and go back and go to the source that God told them to do. Oh, you do this. Why you do this in 10 years ago? That God told you to do this 10 years ago, but you try to do something else to fill it, for self gratification, or need, maybe for the money or for the lifestyle. I don't know, but you end up it fills out at some point. And then you gotta go to God and say, "What should I do?" And now you're people that operate in God. God told you what to do. So because we had to, sometimes God tells us to do something, but we had to decide that we're going to accept God's choice. And,
Absolutely.
Yeah. So that's what I was getting. You made a decision. Say, look, I'm going to do what God told me to do.
But that decision was not just a quick, fast decision.
Right.
We did a lot of arguing. I did a lot of nope. I'm not. No, my people are hard. They difficult. They don't listen. And God kept on saying, "Well, this is what I said do." And I'm telling you, who's for you is gonna come to you. I'm like, yeah, and I need to make this bread. Like I invested a lot of time, a lot of money, a lot of energy, and God said, "Oh, the bread coming. I got you." I'm not going to tell you to do anything because I know who you are and I know what you want. I know who you are and I know what you want. I know what you need in order for you to feel comfortable. I know what you need in order for you to build. Because I know you. I made you. So I know you. And it took some time. That's why it is that I was focused on the masses. Because God never said for me to work with the masses. I was always pointed in the direction of my people. Our situation is a unique situation. We're the only people in the world whose ancestors have endured what our ancestors have endured. And you look at how it is that we may able to make magic happen anyway. We are a puzzle to a lot of people outside of us.
That's right. Exactly. And we in the day had to do the work and work on ourselves, because we come, like, our ancestors adore a lot. We went through a lot of stuff, and we had to work on that. We had to break those generational curses and be healed and be delivered, because in the day, the people who come behind us will look at us and see, what did we do? What he or she do to break those curses? How they were going to get themselves healed? What they worked on to better themselves so they become greater? Because you only hit on this earth once, and you got to bring the best out of it. And you have to have joy. You don't have to be angry all the time. I see so many people angry for no reason. For what? For what? Like your life could be worse. You know what I mean? But you're mad about he or she didn't call me or didn't text me back, or about some finances. I'm like, okay, God's gonna provide. You believe in Him. Just trust God. God will provide for you. And God, I don't have no help. Blah 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 blah. You do have help. God gave you the help. Use them.
Yeah, even your help comes through people. Your help comes through people. Your help can come through experiences. Your help can come from you standing on a corner waiting on a bus and somebody just walk up to you because they can feel your spirit. As being an empath, I know this to be true because I do it. So it's like it can come in so many different forms that you can lose sight of it if you're not paying attention or looking out for it.
That's right. You gotta be attention. You gotta be given. That's why you gotta set yourself free so you can open up and see that.
Yeah.
If mind is cluttered and someone's going on, you're not going to see the help. You're not going to embrace that. You're not going to see that at all. Like I said, I read your bio and I saw that you started the Mahogany Moon. Can you tell us what is Mahogany Moon?
Mahogany Moon is a sacred space created to cultivate Black healing, leading the Black joy. As a people, we are great at looking like we're great. I think we need a moment of silence for that one. Because again, we are great at looking like we're great. I'm talking the hair, the like we're beautiful people. We are beautiful. On the outside, we are beautiful people. And so many of us are struggling with that inner those inner demons. Those shadows is what it is that I call them. I don't call them demons. I call them shadows. Those dark spaces that we refuse to tap into and just want to ignore it and cover it up with hair and nails and makeup and clothes, and for brothers looking good and covering it up with women and covering it up with weed and covering it up, even trying to cover it up with church. Not dealing with it. You cannot pray away certain things. You got to go through a process of really dealing with it. And again, it goes back to God putting you in position to be able to see the blessings in people and when people are placed into your life and your path. Mahogany Moon is a space that cultivates healing on an organic level. We deal with everything. We dig deep. Every client that I've ever worked with in the last 12 years, it was 12 years in July. Every client that I've ever worked with have shared with me they've never thought about the things it is that we talk about. They just sat in them. They just sat in the molestation. Because in the black community, people don't really touch that. Nobody talks about it. It'll be the uncle molesting all of the girls, all touching little boys, and at the barbecue. Like these are the things that nobody's talking about. Nobody wants to talk about the mom's boyfriend touching on the daughter, and the mom still messing with the boyfriend. All of these things do things to us. All of them. The son who gets emasculated by his mom, who's cussed out all the time, punched, hit, calling it tough love, and all of these things. These are things that put us in position to not know how to connect with each other. These are the things that put us in position to not know how to love on ourselves so we can pour love into each other. These are the things that put us in position to be terrible parents because many of us are terrible parents. And I can say it, I'm looking in the camera, I said it, especially when it comes to a lot of Black mothers. Black men have been, if a Black man doesn't pay child support, if he doesn't pay money, he's a deadbeat dad. He not this, da 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 da, blah blah. Nobody touches on Black moms. I touch every space there is to touch in Black mothers. There are a lot of toxic Black mothers out here. And the fact that we are very clear in recognizing and understanding a mother is the first teacher. That is her responsibility, is to teach her children. And she is going to teach her children either to value themselves or not to. She's going to teach her children whether to love themselves or not to. And I understand that if she didn't know what to do, she doesn't know how to do certain things. But we have to take this protection cloak off of the Black mother so we can really start to deal with the things that's really, really, really happening with us. I'm not taking brothers off of the, I'm not taking brothers' responsibilities away from them, but I am a 70s baby and I watched a lot of Black women raise Black boys who will never grow into Black men. I watched a lot of Black women raise Black boys to be womanizers. Watched a lot of Black women have relationships with married men. I watched a lot of Black women make horrible decisions and tell their daughters to not do these things. I watched a lot of Black women raise their daughters and love their sons. I watched a lot of Black women tell their daughters that they don't need men. We're dealing with this right now. I watched it. I was one of them. I watched it in my family. I watched it in friends. I watched it. I've been a watcher since being a child. Like I said, the elders used to say, I have an old soul. I've been watching. And what it is that I did with Mahogany Moon is create a space for people to start to come and unpack it so that they can heal from it. When you heal yourself, you heal 7 generations to come after you. And we got a lot of healing to do. Racism is an issue, but we are our biggest issue because we will not look at ourselves and speak truths to ourselves. We won't speak truth to our mother. I watch adults, I watch 40 and 50-year-old women still afraid of their mothers and afraid to speak their truths. I watch 40 and 50-year-old men say, I don't want to hurt my mother's feelings. I don't want to tell her what she did to me hurt me. I don't want to tell her da 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 da. And it's like, well, how do you prepare yourself to be a woman's husband and be children's father and to lead a home when you aren't even mature enough to face yourself and have uncomfortable conversations with the people who harmed you? And you can do these things without being mean or disrespectful, but it doesn't get there until you go through the process of healing yourself. That's Mahogany Moon.
Wow, that's a great definition. And I pray that more people take advantage of your services, because I think what you just said was spot on about there's a lot of healing that we had to do, and what you said about the impact of healing that impacts 7 generations behind us. That's so important, and a lot of people miss that number, miss that impact. So it's so important that us as a collective be healed and be healed now, because we don't know how much time we have on this earth. Literally, figures we don't know.
Right.
So it's very important and necessary to get healed and get the help that you need.
Yeah.
Have those conversations. Check on those people that you love on a regular basis. You know, don't check on them when something bad happens or when you need something.
Right.
Check on them, ask them how your day was, how was work, are you okay?
Right.
A lot of people don't ask me, are you okay? Right. You know, I had my Emphatic anniversary. No one asked me, no one called me to say congratulations. I had to put a post out there and say congratulations myself. Right. No one didn't think about, oh, it's Yvonne's anniversary. Oh, that means no one did that. I had to put a post out there to remind people to do that. And for me, I shouldn't have to do that anymore. Do you know the date? They reach out to me. And I told my favorites earlier, I know about the short time because I know you got something to go do. But
you're fine. I have what time is it?
Yeah, I gotta meet someone.
Okay, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so I'm making a couple of questions, but I want to say this. We get to the point that I'm questioning why people have phones. Because I call people and I test them, they get back to me. I'm saying like, what's the point of having your phone? You're not gonna call them back. I'm saying like, okay, we have a phone, we do this, you know, but once we ask or check on someone, we do a bad memory and get back to them. Right. I call people. I can leave messages.
That goes into what I was saying, Levine. We don't know how to cultivate relationships.
There you go. That's what there you go. We don't. Something is missing from that, and I think maybe the pandemic has something to do with that. COVID. I know it's probably before the pandemic, but it's gotten worse. People don't know how to cultivate relationships. People worry about cultivating their social media brand. Stories and reels and all, instead of building a relationship. Even simple as, hey, how are you doing today? That's simple. That little thing can save someone's life. And the doctors do not understand that. But we gotta do a part 2. I know
we have to do a part 2.
Yeah.
I'm open for it. I do want to thank you because I didn't get a chance to say it. I thank you so very much for inviting me into this space. And also, I'm telling you, congratulations on your anniversary.
Thank
you.
You
have done an amazing job. You continue to do an amazing job. We have been connected. We connected on Facebook. We've been connected for about 10 years now, brother.
I know.
It's been a long time.
Right,
we met in person.
I do not know how we connected. I know Facebook, but I don't know.
Right. We met in person one time, and that was it. But I've always I've continued to watch you grow, and I've continued to watch you pour into our communities. I've continued to watch your effort in bringing healing and bringing healthiness into our communities and pouring healthiness and healthy behaviors and tools into our babies. I am saying this from me to you.
Thank
Thank you.
you.
Thank you so very much.
Thank you. I appreciate you. I really do. I honestly do. So, couple more questions before we wrap up.
Mhm,
So, besides your coaching program that you're offering,
mhm.
what else is next for you?
What's next for me? So I'm also a creator. I'm a poet. I'm a writer. I'm working on a screenplay right
Mm.
now. Everything it is that I do is black. I was on the phone with actually a sister you connected me with, and I told her the other day, I'm black and a black, black. Like everything I do is black. Everything. So even in my creativity is focused on entertaining us, but at the same time waking up those who are having a hard time awakening to their own brilliance and their own amazing. We come from a people that endured some horrific things, and whether we understand it or not, their blood is pumping through our veins. So the strength that they had, the resilience that they had, I want to be able to tell their stories, and not in a slave way, but in an empowering way, because we are a powerful people. Everything it is that we touch turns into something magical. Everything.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. It does. It definitely does. So, like, you do a lot. You have
I
a
do
lot
a
of.
lot. I was sitting here thinking, even before the interview, I'm like, how do I spend 30 minutes? Because I thought that's how long we were going to be on here. How do I spend 30 minutes telling his audience who Celeste is? I'm a lot. I'm a lot.
Right.
And I am so grateful that I've been given all of the assignments that I've been given. I'm grateful for all of the gifts, and I'm using them all, from writing, coaching. Um, I'm a performer. I do a lot. I do a lot. Um, I'm a healer. I am a wife. I've been a mother. I was an awesome daughter. like I'm a lot. I'm a lot. I'm an amazing friend. I'm a lot.
Yes. Yes.
I
Yes.
am.
You're a lot in a good way. That's what that
Yes.
is. Right.
Yes.
That's what it is. So
It depends upon
it's
who
cool
you
that, like, yeah,
ask.
you're a lot in a good way. So what do you? Since you got all these roles, what do you do for self care?
What do I do for self care? I shut down. I disconnect from social media. I only use social media as a business tool. I no longer use it as, I've even told my family, because they'll post something online, and then when I don't show up for an event, well, what happened? Why didn't you do that? I'm like, I don't get on there. Like, I have an actual life. My life isn't this all day. Like,
Right.
I have a husband who I have to pour into. I have a marriage that I am making sure that I show up as my whole best self in, So I don't do social media a lot. That's one of the things I do. I unplug.
Mm,
Another thing that I do, I journal every day. I meditate every day. I spend a lot of quiet time. I feed myself amazing music that pours into who I am. Um, I spend time with my husband, quiet time and time to just be, just to be able to be me with him. That's also self care for me. I walk. I just started doing. This is my 13th day of raw vegan. So even in taking care of my body, I'm spiritually awakening in some other ways. I am constantly I'm constantly reinventing and rediscovering who I am in my own self-care. nails and hair and those sorts of things, I've heard that's the first thing it is that clients say to me when I ask them women, when I ask them, what do you do for self care? And that's what they give me. And I'm like, yeah, that's maintenance. You want to look good. You being cute. And that's cute and all. But spiritual baths is self work. That's taking care of yourself. That's self care. Talking to friends is self care. You
Mm.
know, writing poetry for me is self care. That is my therapy.
Amen. Amen. So, what words of advice would you say to the younger Celeste Roberson?
Hmm. What would I tell the younger version of me? I would tell the younger version of me, you are doing an amazing job, and life is going to do exactly what it is that you need and want it to do. So relax, sit back, and enjoy the journey.
That's right. That's right. So, my last question is where people can find more information about you, the Mahogany Moon, about your services, and all that.
They can either go to on Instagram. Well, I have three different Instagram accounts.
Oh, for
Um, I can also be found on Facebook. I can be found as Celeste Michelle, and you can DM me. Well, not DM because on Facebook it's Messenger, but you
right.
can message me in there. You can also go to my website, which is mahoganymoon1.com, and that actually will take people directly to me. There is an icon where you can either leave a message or there's a phone. And if you click the phone, it'll call my phone directly. My hours, if I'm off and I'm not working, it'll go straight to voicemail. Just leave a message and I'll get back. I am serious about making sure that I connect with people that are ready to latch onto their healing. I even created a program for people who cannot, for my people that cannot afford my services, because my services, it is 4 figures. So I want to make sure that I created something where I can help everybody that looks like me.
Yes, I will definitely plug that. Celeste Roberson, it's been a pleasure. Finally, we connected with you. As we met 10 years ago. That's been a long. That's a long time, and
It's a long time.
and a lot of times, like you think about it, like word, like God, I'm like, wow, like sometimes like God takes you to places that you were connected with that you didn't think would be in your life, and they still are to this day. And
Hmm.
thank you for your words of wisdom you have poured to me. I will definitely on my end work on connecting with you more about things I'm dealing with. How I could be a better husband, friend, things like that, so I could learn, so I can become greater. Because I feel like I haven't really tapped into what I should be tapped. I feel like tap into a little bit, but I want to go higher and higher and more connected this year. So
Well, I do think, well, one of the things that I'm doing too is creating a space so that we can do that. We need support. Marriage, I tell this to single people all the time, and I am a relationship, I'm not a relationship guru. I am a relationship expert. I have studied us for almost 30 years. And when I say us, I mean us. I've studied us for almost 30 years. And relationships are relationships, but marriage, that's a totally different space.
mhm.
And marriage is a beautiful thing, but you have to put yourself in position to be willing to work in the marriage in order for it to be a marriage that works for you.
Yes, I agree. Exactly right. And like I said, I'm gonna definitely connect with you more. I will definitely spread the word about you and hope that we can be a part of our business, because we are trying to um, get more into our families that we work with our children with, so
Mhm.
our families can be healed. While the kid's a teenager,
Right.
or a rising middle school student,
Right.
or a rising high school graduate. So if we get our parents on the path of healing while the child is present, that'll make the family dynamic more wholesome, more happier. So,
Yes.
because like I said, Emphatic was birthed out to be for kids, but now we try to heal families. Try to heal families inside out. So our kids can be more happier and have more true Black joy and true Black love, and so they can see that in the home. So they can stop those things that they have seen for years and decades, and start experiencing something new that is fruitful, that is powerful, that is healthy. So we can break those curses right now, and like I said, I hope that you be a part of that in some way, aspect, or form. So
I told you I'm a phone call away, as you know.
Yeah, exactly. So we definitely will do that. So Les, thank you so much for being a guest. We may have to do a part 2 later this year about the marriage relationships, because that's a whole lot of conversation with that. And dating, because that's something we gotta talk about that too down the line as part 2. But we'll set a date for that. But enjoy the rest of your day. I know you got a session coming up. Yes. That day to stay connected. I will get back to you about that date you told me about. So
okay.
All right. Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Enjoy the rest of your day.
You too.
Peace.